Man, the Kadai Destroyer is such a cool-looking unit. I do wish sometimes it was a little bit better, but let's see how Flying Taco can use it today in this very spicy Chaos Dwarf build up against the Dark Elves, one of the sweatiest matchups in the game, as we have previously established. So I'm curious to see what this particular build setup can offer. We've got an Overseer, which is a quite uncommon pick, on foot, as cheap as possible, with a Demon Smith Sorcerer in the air. Again, this is basically just like taking the Sorcerer Prophet, but with extra steps, essentially, and also the fact that this guy can heal constructs, I believe. Took the ability. Yes, here it is. Heals the Hellforce units, which, of course, the Kadai Destroyer is one. We've also got an Iron Demon Choo-Choo. Not the Skullcracker that we saw the other day, but the ranged attack one. Magma Cannon as well, not nearly as OP as when this faction was first released, but still a very nice tool, especially against low armor factions. We've got Goblin Laborers scattered around. We've got some Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders here, and some Chaos Dwarf Warriors. One Infernal Guard. Just regular old Infernal Guard in melee. Very odd choice. And then Death means Spirit Leech and Fate of Buna. So, on the opposite side for the Dark Elves, we've got these Dark Rider Repeater Crossbows, looking to perhaps harass a little bit here. Same thing on the other side, two of them. Cold One Knights, we've got some Bolt Throwers moving up into position. Supreme Sorceress of Shadows, 3 Bolt Throwers, a mix of Corsairs, and a single Bleak Sword in the front line. 5 Corsairs, a single Bleak Sword, and 3 Cold One Knights. So already this build is going to show active defense. This is a really good kind of counterpoint to one of the box videos we saw recently where SladeX was able to just completely destroy a high elf build with pretty much only fanatics. Notice how Flying Taco is playing defensively here, but he's doing so in an active manner. He's still microing this Iron Demon to run around and shoot stuff as they advance, right? He's actively positioning his units in ways to kind of block the advance, and he's also a decently way spread out. Like, he's not all clumped up in one super tight box, because that way he can actually move his forces to intercept and block and be able to prevent the Dark Rider Repeater Crossbows from getting in close and using their range to perhaps nuke the Magma Cannon or other units. So, yeah, the Dark Elf player also looks like they want to play defensively, but they're having a hard time getting their Reaper Bolt Throwers in range. Notice how Taco's doing a good job of keeping that range indicator in his awareness and moving back his high-value targets so they're not getting shot. Looks like we have a couple of Cutthroats. Sneaky Gits. Hobgoblins deployed in the back, moving in as most secret of secret agents in an attempt to kill the Reaper Bolt Throwers, but the Reaper Bolt Throwers now actually moving forward of their own infantry will, without even knowing it, block those Sneaky Gits from getting into action. But Magma Cannon's already used up a decent amount of its ammunition. Let's see, value-wise, how much it's done. Not really much. Maybe will pay for itself if it continues on this pace, but it definitely needs to stay out of range of those Bolt Throwers. So again, because they only move up just barely within their max range, it doesn't have a problem moving back. And now Flying Taco is going to present some different targets here. Comes forward with the Iron Demon, Kadai Destroyer, the Demon Smith Sorcerer. So again, if this relatively cheaper option is taking the shots, then why not advance with the Kadai and the other units while they're occupied? Yeah, Sneaky Gits still just hanging back. They're advancing, but not quite in a position to do anything yet. Let's see here. Kadai looking to start just messing things up in melee. Iron Demon comes forward. Ooh, that overshot there just made the artillery crew scream a bit. Went over the heads of Corsairs, but they're going to eat the charge also. A little bit of target switching here in the front line leads to some sort of ski-wampus charges. That's okay. Yes, I love the choo-choo train sound, absolutely. And again, the Kadai able to get through, taking minimal damage from the Bolt Throwers since they were so focused on the Magma Cannon. They've now switched over to it, but we're going to see a Reforge already used to try and shrug off that little bit of damage that was done. Terror takes hold almost immediately for the Dark Elves in the front line, and they're going to have some units start routing immediately. Taco's got to be careful, though. The Demon Smith Sorcerer in the air is taking some damage from those Repeater Crossbows. And it looks like we're going to see... Ooh, what kind of vortex could it be? Bit of Shades, of course. Not the most exciting one, but it is certainly a good one, and it's going to absolutely nuke that unit of Chaos Dwarf Warriors. Thankfully, it didn't get more than just the one unit, but yeah, Iron Demon having a little bit of a hard time getting through this back line as the Cold One Knights pursue. Kadai is going to have less of a hard time, certainly, as it has the raw melee power to just murk these Cold One Knights. Cold One Knights will try their best, but Kadai's just on a whole other power level. Perhaps. Right now it's not doing too much damage to them, but another Beta Buna there just to kill the repeater crossbows. Even though they're not the most high value unit, tactically you have to get rid of them by some kind of means, and you know, ranged attacks and magic are generally the best way of doing it if you're not able to catch them in melee, which this build really doesn't have the greatest tools for, to be honest. But anyway, yeah, Magma Cannon landing some shots at range there, also targeting the repeater crossbows. So, although Flying Taco doesn't have ideal stuff for dealing with skirmish cavalry, he just, you know, he's using whatever he has access to, which, again, tactically, those are some of the most threatening units in this Dark Elf build, so it shows good target priority, not getting over-focused on unit value, and instead just, yeah, making sure he stays on his win conditions, right, as much as possible. Cold One Knights being held back and drowned in Goblin Laborers, and the Hobgoblin Wolf Riders also trading actually pretty decently there. Yeah, the Kadai still about 3/4 HP, no problems there. And a little Spirit Leech on the Cold One Knights that it's fighting to try and bail it out. Iron Demon also completely healthy, so yeah, I mean, the balance power shifting in favor of the Chaos Dwarfs, unsurprisingly. Murderous Prowess has been popped, but the Dark Elves have just taken so many losses, and more importantly, the losses that they have taken have been units that are critical to them actually killing the high-value stuff of Chaos Dwarfs here. Even the Overseer is you know, going to be tough for them to kill, it must be said, so... Rear charge in the front line by the choo-choo train as the goblins advance in a nice little pile. Kadai also sauntering forward. Hellforged limbs pounding the earth. Gobos are... Do they rule? Is that how this works? I don't think you guys understand how this works. Anyway. Oh yeah, cool to see the Kadai smashing things up. Iron Demon right at its side. Little crewmen in the back just having the time of their lives. Absolutely. Could you imagine being one of these driver dudes? Probably one of the more fun jobs, to be honest, in the Chaos Dwarf army. One of the hotter ones, although I'd imagine that there's a lot of jobs where you just be super sweaty from how hot it is all the time. I don't know, maybe you get used to it. Maybe have some fireproof armor or something. You guys... or lore heads will have to let me know. Like, I know the Iron Drakes for the regular dwarfs have, like, fireproof armor, technically, right? But what about Chaos Dwarfs? I mean, I guess they have innate fire resistance in-game, so maybe they just don't feel it. Who knows? These things I wonder, but what I don't wonder about is the effectiveness of both these units. Even the Kadai Destroyer doesn't quite pay for itself, but just the immense presence, terror, is able to bust through and just wreck this Dark Elf army, which isn't terribly constructed. Does lack a little bit of anti-large component, especially, I think. But they were just expecting a different Chaos Dwarfs build, perhaps. I'm not really sure. But anyway. Yeah, interesting to see the Infernal Guard infantry. They didn't really do anything more than the regular Chaos Dwarf Warriors did, so not really sure if they're any more effective than they were before. I mean, they had a slight cost decrease, so I don't know. You could probably just cut them down, though, and bring some more laborers or something. Not really sure. Sneaky managed to get in and get some good work done. And Hobgoblin Wolf Raiders also combining with some other units to get some useful tactical and value-wise work in, for sure. The Dark Elf side, most units are not going to pay for themselves, I would imagine. Really had a pretty tough time. Yeah, the Cold One Knights... probably the closest, but just overall, the Dark Elf build was not particularly well prepared for what Flying Taco brought. I mean, they were still able to do quite a bit of damage, but just not really any of the important units. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed watching that. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.